is Extensible Hypertext Markup Language. Okay, it came into emergence in the year 2000. So original intent of HTML. What is the original intent of HTML? Is like general layout of documents that could be displayed by a variety of the computers. So it may be your desktop computers or any different operating systems kind of. This hypertext markup language is like is for representational purpose, and it's like you can define some layouts using the styles as well, using the cascading style sheets. Okay, this cascading style sheets CSS will like going forward we can understand that in the future topics. Okay, so I also mentioned in the previous class about the different versions. Okay, as per the market today, we have this HTML5. Okay, as per your textbook, we have the recent version as HTML 4.0. In the year 1997, it was introduced. Okay, so as per your syllabus in your examinations, you will be writing the topics which are mentioned in your textbook. So I am giving you the concepts overall, like comparison between the current market and the previous versions and all. So make sure like you always follow your like textbook standards and write those topics in your examinations. Okay. Coming to HTML 4.01, it came up in 1999. A cleanup of it was mentioned like 4.0. So whatever the upgradations that happens with respect to the versions, you can always think like the previous versions there will be some deprecated things. Deprecated means we just in the year 2000. So just 4.01 defined using XML instead of HTML. So here what it refers is like you have some like 4.01 which was defined using the XML, Extensible Markup Language. XHTML is also a part of XML, Extensible Markup Language. So this XML, I'll just give you a brief note now in this class. So in future we will discuss about this in detail. This is a set of tags which we discussed yesterday, which can be like predefined and mainly helpful for the transportation of a data, like a form data from your front-end application to the back-end application. Okay, so XHTML is a part of this XML, and it extends the versions of the widely used hypertext markup language. Okay. And again, a new version came up in 2001, XHTML 1.1, which has our concept of modularized with version 1.0 and drop the frames. So in HTMLs, we have a concept called frame set that we'll discuss. So modularized means I'm going to share you some link in the chat. Okay, this is one of the Wikipedia links. You can get more information on the module based XHTML, like for example, I mean like XHTML modularization, what it is actually. It is like a kind of methodology for producing the modularized markup language. For example, when you're moving from one version to another version, there should be a chance of extending the previous version, right? So you are maintaining some module kind of structures where you are going to add a few concepts, so it becomes a latest version. So this is mainly helpful in releasing the next versions and all. Okay, now I'm going to share you one link in the chat. You can refer to that link. And I also request mentors, like whatever the links I'm sharing, this may be additional information, but it will obviously help all students to understand the concepts well. I'll just share. So when you refer to your textbook, it may appear like more abstract, but when you go through the links, you can well understand on each and every word that is mentioned. Okay. And mentors also can help out the students by going through these URLs and explaining the concepts in detail, so that it helps them to write the concepts well in their examination. Now just we are moving on to next slide. versions and evolutions of HTML continued. So this is our next slide. So what are the reasons to use the XHTML rather than HTML? Okay. XHTML, it's like more standardized. It follows some strict rules. Okay. For that basic reason, we have been using the XHTML when compared to HTML. Okay. The syntactic correctness of the XHTML documents can be validated, or the processes like in HTML, even if you do not properly close the tags also, it will obviously render the page, but the rendering will not be appropriate. Okay. So it has more strict syntax and all in XHTML. So for these reasons, we are just using the XHTML. Okay. Now the basic syntax, how it appears. So I'm just going to share my Word document, and I will be writing few tags. Okay. Open tag and a close tag. Okay. So in between this open tag and the close tag, we can type the content like hello or any kind of text we can make it. So this open tag can be a p tag. We have certain tags in HTML. Okay. Here if you type some hello Jntuk, so this text will be appearing on your web page. So in XHTML, it is a strict rule, like whenever you open a tag like this using this angular braces, you have to close this tag by using this slash. Okay. Which means like you are closing the or ending particular tag. So it has to be followed strictly in XHTML. And whereas in HTML, if you do not close the tag also, it can render the page, but you will have a problems in the displaying part. Just moving on to the PPT once again. That together specify a container for the content they enclose. So container for the content. Content is your hello, and container is your where the content is actually present. Okay, that is called your container. So p tag is your container, as we have seen in the example. Okay, now moving on to the next slide. Basic syntax that we are going to continue here. Okay, not all tags have the content. So there are certain tags in HTML which do not have a content inside it. They are called as self-closing tags. Okay, they are used for some specific purposes. For example, you have something called you have a line. Okay, how are you ? So after this particular line, you want to move to next line. Okay, you don't want to continue your text in the same line. In that case, we will be using some tag called as a PR tag, which is called as a break tag. So this break tag will not have any content inside it. So we call this particular tag as a self-closing tag. Okay. So not all the tags have a content. I'll show you the syntax of the BR tag. So these tags are also called as a self-closing tags. I'll just finish the remaining topics in this slide, and in the Word document I'll show you all the examples. Okay. So first concept is like not all tags have the content. For example, you have some text like how are you, which is embedded in a particular p tag. Then you want to move to next line. In that case, we'll be using the BR tag, which does not contain any content. We call it as a self-closing tag. Generally we call it as a self-closing tag. So like whatever is mentioned in your textbook, you can use the particular terminology. Okay. The container and its content together are called an element. So this is one of the important concepts. Element, you have to remember what an element is, what an attribute is. Okay. Element means you have P opening tag and P closing tag. Inside you have a hello. So all three together we call it as an element. So the container and its content. Container is a P tag and the content is your hello. So both together we call them as an element. Okay. If a tag has attributes, they appear between its name and the right bracket of the opening tag. So this I'll just show you, otherwise you cannot get it. Let me share the Word document. So break tag actually, this is mainly used. So this w3schools.com, you can find all these tags. Okay. Next concept that we have explained, that we have seen in your PPT, is about attribute. Okay. What is meant by an attribute? For example, beside the P we have written something like class equal to, okay, COLOR. This is your double quotes. Okay. So between the left hand angular braces and the closing angular braces of the P tag. Okay, this one. Before, after the color. Okay, in between there is class is equal to color, right? We call class as an attribute. So I mean, like, color is one of the attribute. Using this particular class, we can assign some particular colors, or it may be a background color or a font color. So in CSS we write the particular class as dot color, like this, color red. So font color will become red if it's background hyphen. So this is a syntax actually in CSS. So if you want to give background color as red to particular P tag, then we have codes that has to be written in your CSS file with dot class. So as it is a class, we are keeping a dot before it. Okay. You can well understand in further classes. So for now, you can see this as an example. So if it is an ID, for example, attribute is an ID, then it should be hash. Okay. So we have certain concepts in CSS where we have these attributes. Okay. In HTML, we can use certain tags like this for commenting your code. Okay. Your code like this. Sorry. Okay. Within the angular braces, if you write your code like this, it will be like commented code in your page. So browsers ignore comments, unrecognizable tags. Sometimes browsers do not, if you don't properly comment it, it will ignore and it will consider the particular content within the comment sections which you are considering, and it will render on your page. Okay. Tags are the suggestions to the browser even if they are recognized by the browser. So whatever the tags you are writing, right, these are a kind of suggestions. Okay. We have different types of tags. This is a div tag, you can see here. So you can always use the small letters. Okay, it is recommended to use the small letters for the tag. So obviously there will be some difference between a P tag and a div tag and a span tag. Okay, each tag has its importance that we are just giving few examples of what are the tags in HTML. Okay. So these are the concepts which we have discussed about the self-closing tag, that is a break tag example, and what is meant by element, what is meant by an attribute. Okay, element is nothing but your content with the enclosing tags. That is the container and the content together, we call them as an element, and we have seen the comments. Okay, and the remaining things, whatever you have written inside the comments, if they are not appropriate, the content will be rendered on your web page. Okay, these comments will be recognized by your browser. So now moving on to the next slide, HTML document structure. Okay, yeah. So every XHTML document must begin with, so whatever syntax you are seeing here, right? XML version 1.0, doc type HTML. So these are the different types of doc types which we have discussed in our previous classes. Please go through the doc types mentioned in your textbook only. Okay. For your examination purpose, be clear and do not get confused. So mentors, please ensure them. Just go through all the doc types, but you can like refer to your textbook doc types. Okay. So this has been provided like this w3.org, which is an official which is an official community which has defined all the standards for the web. Okay, and below that you can see like HTML head, title, body are required in every document. So now I am going to show you how a HTML, all these things can be represented on your web page. I mean your whatever the editor you are trying to do. Version thing, XML version 1.0 encoding UTF-8. It's a standard encoding, and below that you can see a doc type HTML, which has been public and it has been defined in English language. So these are the kind of syntax given by our W3C, World Wide Web Consortium. Okay. So below this particular code, I mean below this particular doc type, you can see a exclamatory mark, angular brace, exclamatory mark, and a double hyphen, block code dot HTML, and an example to illustrate a block code. And again there is a closing angular brace, okay, after the hyphens. So this is nothing but your comment section. Okay, so below that you have HTML open tag and XML NS. Okay, I will explain you about the XML namespace, and there is something between a double quotations. Okay, this line we will go through in the next slide about XML namespace, why we have written. Okay, now coming to the header tag. Okay, inside the header tag we have title. Okay, whenever you open your browser, on the top you can see the title of the page. Okay, when you are opening any flipkart.com, when you open it, let me show you a browser. For example, you can either see your JNTU site as well. Just give me a few seconds. I'm just sharing the website now. Okay. The jntuk.edu.in. I'll show you the tag once again. Let me just give me a few seconds. So on the top page, you can see JNTU Kakinada -new portal. have just hovered on the title. You can see my arrow, my mouse arrow. Okay, there you can see JNTU Kakinada -new portal. So this is called actually the title of your page. So whenever in your head section, like after first thing is your HTML parent. Okay, it's a root element that you have to initially start your page with. Okay, I mean before that there will be a doc type. So after your doc type you have HTML. After the HTML you have your head section. Inside the head you will write the title. Okay, so title is if you write the JNTU Kakinada -new portal, you can see this thing. So this is your URL jntuk.edu.in. That is your website URL. So that is about the title. So when we run the pages, I will show you in the browser as well. So we have to open a body as well as close a body tag. So you actually open the HTML tag. In the bottom you can see the closing HTML as well as head tag. You have to close it. Title tag you have to close it. You have to ensure like all the standards are followed. So body you can see p style is equal to color colon. Okay, here style is an attribute. Okay, style is we are trying to use some CSS styles here. So within the paragraph opening and closing you have some text. Okay, so this is a basic example of how your page appears. So inside your body you will have a set of tags defined. So whatever is required, it can be an image tag, it can be a video tag, it can be a normal text tag. So this is how your basic HTML page looks like. Okay, now I'm just moving on to our PPT once again. Identify how the title tag. Also, I would like to show you an example. Like beside the title tag, you can have an icon. We call it as fab icon. FAB, fab icon. So if your JNTU website has some symbol like kind of a emblem, you can just show it on your beside your title. You can have it actually. Okay. Head, title for understanding of what is the particular page, and then comes the body tag. Within the body you write all your tags and properly close all the tags. Now coming to the next concept, HTML, XML, NS. Okay, this we are going to discuss. XML, NS is like XML namespace. So XML is a kind of a data format which can be utilized for the transport of data. So this is a standard given by the W3C organization with some purpose. So what is the purpose we are going to see? I will write a few description about the XML-NS and I can show you. We have to differentiate if we are sending two objects or two person names or details. So we have to differentiate between the two objects, right? Two different persons. So here we can see an example. What is the purpose of the XML-NS? We can understand. Okay. So we have a person here with XML-NS HTTP colon some domain / person and two objects. For example, you have written one XML. So this is how an XML appears. Okay, but in the second one you can see, right? This is the structure of the XML document. Okay, like you are defining name as Rob, age is 3, home city, name, latitude, longitude, home city and person. Okay, so this is the basic structure of the XML document which we are going to learn about in the further classes. Okay, so now you have another person with a different name and different details. So if you want to extend one object, then like if you want to extend one object, like in the same object only you want to add some attributes of the different object. So you have a name like Rob, right? So you want to add another name within the same XML. In that case, you have to define XML ns colon that particular XML. So you are kind of inheritance you are doing. Okay, if you are trying to add this person details in your existing object, both will have the name tag, both will have the age. So to differentiate between two different names, so this name is Rob or this name is something else. So if you want to inherit one object to like into the another object which is having the same properties as other object. I hope you are well aware of the object concepts in a Java and all. But still I'm just repeating. So if you want to inherit one object into the another object, I mean you want to write the same properties. Properties means if you take a car, it will have a properties like color, manufacturing date and all. Like if you take a person, he will have a name as Rob, age. So certain attributes he will have, right? So certain properties he will have. So if within the same object you are trying to add one more person, in the same person object you are trying to add person 2 details also, in that case you have to write XML ns colon person XML. You have to differentiate it. Can not only a person, it can be colon a or something. So when you write here person XML, you write here, okay, person XML colon name is Rob, okay, person XML age is 37. So it is referring to this particular object, okay, person XML. So if you write generic things like this, name, age, the end system may get confused like which person to consider. So there should be some differentiating, and this can be done using XML namespace ns colon something XYZ you give, and you type this thing. What is your domain? You can enter your domain slash it is a person, okay, or it is a object, or it is a car or something. Okay, this you can understand more in your further XML session. So if you you have an object with the same, if you have two different objects with the same properties means like name, age, these are kind of properties, okay. For a person, for a car it can be a color of a car, manufacturing date, these are the properties. So if you want to embed one object into another object which are having the same properties and you want to differentiate those properties, in that case you will write XML ns colon, it can be second person if you want to give this person 2, okay, you write person 2 and you give your domain thing and the type of the like it is a person or an object. Then in your embedded thing you can write like this, person XML colon name, person, instead of name you will prepend this, okay, prepending this person XML colon kind of things, okay. So I'll try to get more examples. Now moving on to the next slide. So now I hope you can see the screen. So a document consists of a head and the body, this we discussed, and the title tag is used to give the document a title which is normally displayed in the browser's window title bar at the top of the display. So prior to HTML 1.1, a document could have either a body or a frame set. Okay, body is the enclosing part of your tags. So frame set, this we'll discuss in detail. Okay. Now just moving on to the next slide. Basic text markup. Text is normally placed in the paragraph elements. So whatever text we have, a plain text, we generally use a paragraph element. P tag, we call it as P tag, breaks the current line and inserts a blank line. So the new line gets the beginning of the content of the paragraph. So in this one we can run the document and see. So p tag, like whenever you type any text in the p tag, it will occupy the whole portion of your web page. I mean, it won't allow the other element to sit beside it. Okay, it will totally occupy the entire web page. This we can see with the help of an example. You can categorize the tags into two types: block level elements and inline elements. So this particular p tag comes under a block level element. Block level element is nothing but it occupies the entire portion of your web page. So I shall show you the example once again. See the P tag here, okay? Here the P tag, you can see Abraham Lincoln is generally regarded as one of the greatest presidents of the US. His most famous speech was delivered in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania during the Civil War. The speech began with. So you have written certain text in the P tag, right? So what happened when you have run this particular program? So it is occupying the entire portion of your web page, but it's not breaking in the middle, okay? Let me do some edits. I'll just edit here. So from next class, I'll be showing this all the programs in the editor. So it's recommended to use the notepad for your like whenever till you are used to the p tags and all. So later you can use the editors and all. So we have written after the p tag. I'm just trying to give another tag. In this tag, I'm typing some content like hello, how are you? Okay, something I have written and I'm now just saving and refreshing my page. So when you refresh your web page, you can see, right, we can see the particular information what I have typed is hello, how are you, how is the class going on. So in your browser you can see that line has come in the second line, okay? After Abraham Lincoln is generally regarded, I'll just try to change the color of Abraham Lincoln text. Maybe it's not visible to you. I'll just change the code. Okay, I have just saved the content. Okay, I think everyone can see the difference, right? So in the blog post, you can see Abraham Lincoln in one text and hello, how are you in the other line. So this particular p tag, which is a block level element, will not allow the other elements to occupy the space beside it. So it will throw the other lines in the next line. So these kind of paragraph elements, div elements are the block level elements. So we have certain tags in HTML which are defined as a block level elements and inline level elements. Inline level elements can like sit beside other tag, okay? So beside the p tag, if I write a span tag, how it will behave also we can see, okay? Let me make the changes. So here I have written like I am span, okay? I am span is again inline element, but when I am trying to place a particular inline element beside the block level element, it is not allowing. In that case, we can have the property written for the I am span. Like if it's an, we can assign some properties like, let me show you how to debug also in this session. sure, I'll be increasing my font size. Wait, I have written a div tag. Hello, how are you is present in the div tag. Okay, now let us try to understand how we actually debug a web page. Debugging is if you get any errors, you usually try to debug your code, right? Or try to find the ways like where you have actually stopped and all. Okay, so how to open this debugging mode? Okay, let me start from the beginning. Now you are in this web page, right? Just right click on your mouse and the last one you can see inspect element. I mean inspect, the shortcut is Control plus Shift plus I. When you do this Control Shift I on your web browser, you can see the panel opening up. Okay, this is your debugging mode where you can actually see whatever code you have written. Okay, so here you can see you can see the doc type and all, as well as all the entire program you can see here. And on the right side, this is the left portion. Okay, on the right side you can see some styles which have been applied by default by the web browser. Okay, here we can actually change the styles also. See, for example, this is a font size 25, right? I hope everyone can see. Just stop me if you cannot see this particular thing. Element.style means, so whatever we are placing, wherever we are placing our mouse, that will be the element.style here. Okay. So you have given, for body I have given 25. That's the reason my font size has been increased. So this is a property. Like a car has a color, purchasing cost, like that properties. We have certain properties for the web page as well. Like we can increase the font size by using the font size tag. So this is a class in CSS, Cascading Style Sheets, which adds all the styles to your web page. Web page is nothing but your static page. If you want to add any styles, we have to use this CSS thing. Okay, for your body, we have written style. This is a CSS thing. Okay, style is equal to this, we call it as inline style. Within the same line, we are trying to make the style, right? So in CSS, we will discuss in detail about the different kinds of styles we are going to apply to our web page. Okay, so font size I made it 25. If I go on increasing, see, you can see the difference, right? Okay, so this is basically your web page. And how do you actually debug your web page? Debugging, right click on your web browser page and you can see the inspect element, create inspect. Okay, Control Shift I in your web page, and when you click on the inspect, this panel will open. So this is the element tab. On the right side, on the left side, you can see all the elements, all your coding. Here you can change your styles dynamically. Even the text also you can see. So right click on the particular tag. You can see edit text or edit as HTML. So try to type something. Okay, you can see in your browser. Okay, it's a two-way you can do here, but it will not be saved in your notepad. Okay, this is just for online editing, like kind of checking instantly. Okay, so this debugging is very important in a programming field. Okay, in this web programming field. So whenever you, in your lab examinations also, you can, whenever you stop in the middle because of some errors, or if you are missing something in your page, you can quickly debug and see like what are the problems. It will throw some errors also. You have a console tab right here. It will show some errors in which line you got the error and all. Okay, so respectively you can quickly jump to that line and make necessary changes. Okay, so this class, a very important concept is about debugging. So this debugging, you have to clearly make sure while executing the programs. I'm just switching back to our PPT. Okay. Right click, you can see inspect as a last element. So you can click on inspect, then the debugging mode will open. In the debugging mode, on the left side you can see all your code. On the right side you can see all the CSS where you can make the changes instantly. And if you're okay, so this particular font size is okay, then you can copy the code and paste it in your notepad or the editor. Okay, these are just made instantly only for checking and for understanding, to find the errors and all, but it will not be saved in your notepad. Whatever changes you make here on your left side or right side in the debugging mode, this will not be saved in your notepad, and these have to be like copied and pasted in your notepad, or you can just type on it accordingly. So this is one of the important concepts. Even when you are going forward as a programmer also, you have to learn about the debugging concepts. Okay. It's about block level elements. So inline elements I'll discuss in detail. Okay, with some examples. So so you can understand about the p tag, then W3C HTML validation service. Okay, this is a service which helps us to understand whether our page is following the standards or not. Okay, let's go to the URL once. Okay, we have a certain like concepts in HTML, like where we can validate our HTML. For example, if you have written some code in your notepad, but you are not sure whether it has followed all the standards or not. Okay, so apart from debugging, you can ensure whether the standards are followed or not using the. So I think you can see my screen. Basic text markup.
Hello. Hello.
I'm just waiting for the screen, PPT screen to be loaded. ORG, we can see validate by URL or by file upload, validate by direct input. So here either you can give a URL address, or you can directly copy the code here and paste here and click on a validate, or you can upload here. This is a direct input where you can copy your code. This is a choose file. You can choose your notepad file and upload here, or you can give the URL directly if it is already online, and you can click on the check here. Okay, so when you give your code here, directly, so it is throwing some error, one warning. Now you have again tentatively passed 2 warnings. Sections of HTML. Please go through the links that I have provided about modularization and all. Also refer your textbook on daily basis. So whatever the concepts that I have covered in today's class, please just go through them and try to do some sample exercises. Okay. Try to work on head, title part, body, and whatever the tags you want to experiment, you can just experiment on using with the help of w3schools.com. Okay. from your side as well. So first PPT, like first chapter, we have gone through all the standards like internet and protocols about World Wide Web. All these are kind of a theoretical stuff where you have to remember the concepts and write in your examinations. From the second chapter till the end of XML, the BR tag is same as that of a P tag except for the blank line. So this is a kind of a self-closing tag which we have already discussed. Line break helps us to break the particular line. So when you are typing any text you want to move to next line, you can use this BR tag. Okay. So example of the paragraphs and line breaks. So here you can see one example. On the plains of hesitation, okay, there the P tag starts. Bleach the bones of countless millions. We have ended the P tag and we have given a break and we have written some text and again we have given a break. So when you do this on your web page, so this is a kind of example you can do from your end. Try to type some content without any tags. Put some tags and write the content inside it and give some break tags randomly. So you observe the difference on your web page. Okay. So this is the output, how it actually looks. It is given typically display of this text. Okay. Wherever you have given a break, we have some gap. Again we can see. On the plains of hesitation, which is not in any tag, and we have the P tag, bleach the bones of the countless millions. There is a lot of space between these two lines if you can observe. This is because P tag will default have some properties like margin and padding. It is nothing but a default spacing between the other elements. So margin, padding we'll be discussing in detail. Okay. So these are the kind of elements because of which we got so much of space. Okay, it will have a default attribute by itself. So again break tag, simply we are switching who at the dawn of victory to the next line. Again we have a break, sat down to wait and waiting. Okay, you can observe this thing when you try to type on your notepad. So just quickly revise all the concepts that we have discussed today. So XHTML, what are the reasons for using XHTML when compared to HTML? So XHTML is like strict, leading to clean and clear documents. So this has some particular syntactic rules where the closing tag should be properly closed, otherwise the rendering of the page will not be appropriate. And whenever you use the tags in your notepad, you can see like we have to ensure the opening tag and closing tag are properly there. So the tag with the content together we call it as an element. Okay, opening tag, closing tag, element. Opening tag and closing tag together we call them as a container. Okay, container and content together we call it as an element. So comment section we have seen how do we actually comment a HTML text. If you do not use the comments appropriately, the text will be rendered on your web, which will help to move your line to the next line. Next, the HTML document structure. Like you have to follow certain standards given by W3C organization. You need to specify the type of version you are using and the doc type, which is an instruction to the web page, like which kind of version we are going to use. Okay, which kind of HTML version we are going to use, we have to tell this to browser explicitly. Okay, which can be made with the help of doc type. Okay, next comes the head. HTML head, title, body. So we have HTML as a root element. So after inside the HTML element, you have the head. Inside the head you have the title, which you can see at the top portion of your browser. You can also see a fav icon. Please do some R&D on fav icon. Okay, it may not be specified in your textbook. Again I'm just typing on your chat, fav icon. Okay, fav icon is an icon which is displayed beside your title. Okay, every institution or educational organization will have this fav icon. It's like a symbol. TCS has some symbol, right? Some T kind of. So it's a kind of icon. In web, we use the terminology called favicon. So we have seen the XML-NS. So XML-NS, I'm just going to share few examples, okay, that you can get through your mentors. Few links I can share you, and more about frame sets concept as well. Coming to the basic text markup, we have seen about the paragraph elements, which is a block level element. Okay. This paragraph element will occupy the entire portion of your browser and it won't allow the other elements to sit beside it. So this is a block level element. Using the CSS styles, we can make this block level elements as an inline element as well. Inline, if it becomes an inline element, then it can allow the other elements to sit beside it. It will give some portion of the page beside it. Okay. So you can make a particular block level element as an inline. Allowing other elements. So block level is a default property of the p tag. Okay. As I mentioned, p has a default margin and padding, like kind of space around it. Margin and padding, you can consider it as a space, which we'll discuss in detail in the further classes when we go to the CSS concepts. So like that, p is a default block level element, and inline element means if you want that particular element to occupy, if you have a content like hello written inside a span tag. Span tag is an inline element. SPA and span tag is an inline element, and P is a block level element. If you want both the elements to be sit side by side on the same line, you can give the property of the block level element as inline. You can make the P as a inline element. So span is default and inline element. Okay, so it can be placed side by side. So these properties are actually defined with the help of CSS. So when we go through the CSS concepts, we can understand in detail about block level, inline element and all. So for now, you can understand p tag is a element which occupies the entire portion of your web page by default. On top of it, we can make some manipulations on it to make it inline. So we have seen the W3C HTML validation service. I have provided you an URL, updated URL, where you can actually copy and paste your code. So to check the stand, whether it is following some standards. If it throws some errors, okay, you can find out like what kind of errors that have appeared in my web page. So you can just play around the line breaks concept, like break tag. You can use a break tag and understand like how it is behaving and all. So today you can just practice about the debugging part, as well as how a basic web page should look with the doc type, XML version, body, head and all. Try to miss few tags and see what are the errors that you are getting. Okay. So in our next class, I'll be just going from the slide number 8. Okay. Basic text markup. This actually we have already discussed. Okay. Basic text markup, how it should look. Some more tags we'll be discussing in our next class. Just let me know. That almost has all the concepts of HTML, CSS, JavaScript and all at this level for the students to understand. Apart from that, if I have any PPTs, I'll just share all the PPTs with you. Today I'm actually done with my class. So if you have anything, you can provide your messages.